My name is Jess Servion, and I'm super excited to bring you my new podcast, The Juice with Jess. This podcast is going to be about everything in your customer's journey. We're talking acquisition, awareness, making that purchase, retaining that customer, bringing them back around, and everything in between. This is going to be all about delivering dope brand experiences and talking to some really amazing people who are in the customer experience space, the marketing space, and everything in between. Welcome to another episode of The Juice with Jess. I'm Jess. You're co-host.
Your co-host. Co-host. I'm the guest. You're just the host.
I know. David's my co-host today.
Hi.
I am super excited about this episode. We have David Baker, and joining us, who is the Chief Digital Officer for Beekman 1802. I will let him take it away and tell you all about Beekman and himself.
Yeah. So my name is David Baker. As Jess said, I'm Chief Digital Officer at Beekman 1802. So I lead all of our direct-to-consumer e-commerce. I lead our Amazon business. I lead all of our digital advertising, really helping drive digital growth for this brand. And it's a brand that is it is a skin health brand that focuses on the two key ingredients and the science behind them, of the science of goat milk and of kindness in improving your skin health. And so what that means for us is really how do we make products specific to skincare, whether your face or your body, that improve your condition. So we found that goat milk has 31 active nutrients that help restore your skin barrier and keep you in your skin in really healthy condition. And it's perfect for sensitive skin. So for us, that's a key ingredient. We've delved into the science there, as well as kindness, where when you're kind to yourself, when you're kind to your skin, you have a better life. And so really, we're a brand that does that. But before Beekman, I've been all around in the digital space, all around in...
You're a business bitch.
I have been a business bitch. I've worked... I got my start working on political ad campaigns, being the digital guy, for many years, and then pivoted my career, worked at Google, where I spent about 4 years working on all sorts of nonprofit government clients, really helping to drive the non-bottom line of those organizations. And then took those skills and translated them into the beauty industry, where I worked as a consultant and a fractional CMO for a lot of different brands, including Shiseido, Kiehl's, as well as Bonobos, and then moved to L'Oreal full time. Mm-hmm. So I then worked at L'Oreal on the CMO team at L'Oreal, so overseeing all of our digital media for all the brands, and then moved into a brand at L'Oreal Paris, where I worked on digital marketing for them and digital strategy and data strategy, personalization, customization, as well as running a hair color brand, L'Oreal Paris Feria. Did that, worked again on agency side in consulting, and then came over to Beekman. So I've been in the digital space for what feels like an ancient amount of time in this community. I've been working in digital for close to 15 years. I was working in digital before Facebook had ads.
Wow.
Which is scary to think about.
Yeah. Well, I think what's really important, though, and why I'm so excited to have you on and talk about all of these things is because this podcast is very much about acquisition, the buying behavior, the consumer behavior, whether you're on B2B or B2C. And I think it's a really interesting perspective from you, David, to share with the audience, coming from that digital marketing piece, because you're really involved in the customer behavior and the buying and awareness and retaining them, capturing them, all of it. So.
Absolutely. Where do you want to start? Because that's four different things.
I know. I don't have time for all of that.
I think there's a big piece particularly in beauty, around awareness, around getting your brand out there and what do you stand for and how are you different from everybody else who is selling skincare or cosmetics. Well, which I think is one piece. And then you have, how do you then acquire those people?
Yeah.
How do you retain them? How do you make them loyal? And all of that underpinned by the data that helps drive that.
Yeah. Well, I think what's really important is, okay, so let's just talk about the beauty and skincare industry, right? So the beauty and skincare industry is like ever evolving. It's always changing. There's always something new. There's always like the next hot thing, right?
Yep.
How do you, as a marketer, stay competitive in that landscape?
Yeah, I think beauty as a whole, which typically will break down into a handful of subcategories around hair, both care and color, cosmetics, and then skincare, really is trend driven and cycle driven. Sometimes things are up, sometimes they're down, and it really is about understanding where the market is at a macro level and adjusting it. And as well, brands can help make that market and make a new entrant in there and push there. But if we think back to it, cosmetics is an easy one for, I think, people to grasp. There have been trends from sort of natural, no makeup look, all the way to 10 years ago where it was full face glam contouring. Thank you, Kardashians, for driving so much in that space.
Yeah.
And it goes and it varies. And individuals are very different in that. There's a lot of people who never wanted to contour, but that shifted the whole market for a period of time. And then that came back. COVID had a very big impact in those trends because people were wearing masks. So how do you express your individualism if you can't wear a cute lip?
Yeah.
And so that brought in a rise in hair color. So
and eye makeup.
And eye makeup as well.
And
absolutely.
Eyebrows became a hot thing.
Became a hot thing. Mascara was huge. I went to hair color because that was the brand I was working on during COVID. But sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. You have to stay on top of those trends and be able to pivot. Sometimes big, massive machines as quickly as you can, sometimes small startups. So for example, when COVID hit, I was working with our hair color team at L'Oréal Paris, and we knew that just like there had been a run on toilet paper, there was going to be a run on hair color because all the salons were closed.
Oh, yeah.
And every woman who was going to the salon and getting her hair done and colored was now faced with a choice. Do I go natural? Do I let the grays come in? Do I reach for the box dye? Which some people will not do. So how do we pull that in?
Yeah.
And L'Oreal really thought there was going to be a huge market in gray coverage, in people who had been dyeing their hair because they were going gray. And so really needed to capture that. So we pivoted and focused a lot of our efforts there. And what we missed in that trend, and we caught up very quickly, but what we missed in the initial trend was actually people were going to be expressing themselves not through bold color lip, but through bold color hair.
Yeah.
So we needed to have bleach on the market in a big way so people could reset their hair to bleach and then color it reds and blues and purples and pinks and bring that expression and that funness to it.
Yeah.
So I think that trend cycle really matters. And so staying on top of that is really critical. And right now we're facing a wonderful lift in a focus in skincare. If you look at most foundations now, talk about the skincare benefits. There's I just saw an ad during the Grammys for L'Oréal Paris skincare where for cosmetics, where they are talking about the hyaluronic acid, the squalane in the foundation, because they're talking about the skincare benefits of it, not how it makes your skin, how it covers.
So, okay, as a consumer, like for me, when I walk into like a Sephora or like any sort of like makeup place, like I'm instantly overwhelmed. I'm like instantly overwhelmed and I'm just like, I don't really know what I want. So it's like what we're talking about like is trends here. But what I'm curious and from your just like marketer perspective, maybe even Beekman could be a good like case study of this. How do you, when you're in the digital world, like how do you personalize that experience to ensure that your customer is choosing the right product for them and educating them at the same time? That's a loaded question, but
it is a very loaded question. It's a very complex one. So I think I will take You gave me an out there. There are two different paths I can take. We'll take both.
Okay.
But I think it is about education and then it's about personalization. So if you have a consumer who is low education, low intent, they don't know what they don't know, it's about signaling and providing that. I think there's a reason every bottle of shampoo says wash, rinse, repeat. Because they need to provide that education and assume the lowest common denominator. When we launch a new product, we are always wanting to have in our communication, have in our emails, on our PDPs, on everything we're talking about. How does this fit into your routine? Where do I put this step? So we have a facial toner, which I've got right here, and we'll show off in a second. But our milkshake facial toner, which is a facial mist. So it's a moisturizing toning mist. You can actually, this one is challenging because you can actually, it's so versatile. You can use it at multiple steps. You can use it both under your makeup as a toner. So you cleanse, tone, hydrate, treat. Or you can also use it as a setting spray and a refresher. So throughout the day, even though you have your makeup on, you can refresh with this product, and it keeps your pores minimized and hydrated, which is really great. But it comes into how do you educate there, assuming they have no knowledge.
Because I'm already overwhelmed.
You're
I just
already
want to
overwhelmed.
Spray myself in the face.
Go spray yourself in the face.
All right.
Take a shake break.
Okay, shake break. Ah!
Close your mouth when you do it. But here. So I like to do 4 or 5 just because I
only did 2.
I was out in nature this weekend, so I've got a little bit of a dryness. So
I need to do it like you.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm you just did 2 squares.
To the audience listening, we are currently using milkshake and spraying our faces.
So milkshake is a biphase toner. It uses hyaluronic acid and squalene, which are 2 very hydrating ingredients that help minimize your pores. That is about 9 levels of education right there. We talk about where it fits in the routine, the ingredients, what they do. All of that has to start coming through. And there's, if I think back to 2018, I think was when really we started to understand as an industry and as consumers, that's when it was really pushing what hyaluronic acid is and does.
Yeah.
And the fact that I know it's hyaluronic acid is because Ava Longoria in the ad was pushing that.
Yeah.
And that was all education. It was education on the ingredient.
Yeah.
The consumer now, because they are a digital consumer, they have Google at their fingertips. They are born and bred with mobile phones in their pocket that can tell them anything about the world, is savvy and will look up those ingredients. What's the efficacy of this? Is this helpful for my skin? What does it help drive? Yeah. So that's a shift that we're able to drive towards. And I think that's one of the reasons why skincare is such a growing part of the beauty industry.
Yeah.
Right now.
But okay, so now we've talked about personalization and we've talked about the education of it. But, what I'm questioning right now is, well, actually I have 2 questions. I have one question in particular because after all, this podcast is powered by Customer, which is an omnichannel customer service platform. I'm curious about what is Beekman's customer journey, right? I come to the website and you're also available on QVC.
We're available on QVC, HSN. We're available at all Ulta doors nationwide and Ulta's at Target, and then through several independent retailers as well. So we are a very omni-channel brand.
Very true omni-channel
as well as
brand.
Amazon and D2C. So go to Beekman1802.com.
Yeah. You're right. Beekman1802.com. We'll put that in the show notes. So here's the question though, is when you're thinking about your customer's journey, right? Think about overall omni-channel customer journey. And the reason why I brought up the customer thing was because we do these education opportunities and we do all these things in all these places, but what do you do to educate your agents who are dealing with the humanized experience? And the reason I ask that is because I'm sure, I don't know for sure, and you'll tell me, but you have to have a lot of inquiries. You have to, especially from what do I do with this? Where do I go?
Outside of the standard, where is my order tickets, we end up doing a lot on product education and on routine education. So where does this fit into my routine? How do I use this product? How much do I use? When do I use it? It says it's for morning and night. Do I use it both? Do I use it twice a day? Do I pick one? All of those questions really come in. So we have to train our CX agents on those pieces. In fact, at least one, and I believe now 2 of our agents are estheticians.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, so we actually do so that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Really, they oftentimes when we have questions about the product and we're getting it from omnichannel. So a customer on Ulta.com will ping a question in and they'll say like, hey, does this product minimize my pores? And while it does say it on the bottle and on the P page that that's what it does, they ask that question and we provide a response. And that doesn't go to our product team. That actually goes to our CX team, who is that repository of what this does and not.
Yeah.
And then if they don't know, then we go up to our product development team who built it and knows the ingredients and the science backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
But we really help drive that. And what's really interesting and one thing that we've done to help on that education piece is we built in a one-to-one skincare consultation. So you can go to our website and there are two ways you can sort of help identify what works for you. One, you can leverage our AI facial scanning tool, which it's My Skin Biome. It will scan your face and identify where you have issues with fine lines, wrinkles, dryness, redness, and recommend products that are great for you, which is really helpful. And if you don't want to do that, the computer-led version, we can also have you do a 15-minute video consultation with an esthetician who will take you through, here's how we layer this in, here's what's different about our products that don't have silicone in them, so you may not be used to that. It's going to feel a little different when you first try it. And so we try and bring that education into everything that we do.
That's insane. Like, I want to deep dive into this AI thing because like we do talk a lot about AI on this podcast. Honestly, whether it was this podcast, whether it's a newsletter you're reading, like everything that we do these days have AI. So I'm really interested on like how this AI tool works. Like, do I just like take a photo? Like,
yeah. So you take a selfie and it scans your face. So it's a selfie, but it's actually a video. So you get more frames. So it can understand like different pieces. It'll validate what lighting you're in. So it can help identify and better understand, like, is the dark spots just shadow or is it not? So it'll help identify a lot of those pieces. And then it'll produce a score of each of those elements. So fine lines, wrinkles, redness, dryness, which help identify what products really, really work well. So if you have if your skin is very dry, very, very dry, we have a moisturizer that is hyperhydrating versus something that is sort of an everyday.
This is so insane. So so it just literally knows what type of skin you have based off of the image?
So we've worked with...
I'm shook.
It definitely...
I'm shook.
I would recommend you go try it out.
Okay.
But I think it's a really cool tool there. I think... that to me is one where that we're leveraging AI and machine learning more than true AI there. And it's something we've been doing sort of before the generative AI boom that we're in right now. Because I do think there's a lot of things that sort of just put AI on it to be cool, but that aren't driving that. So I think that's one area. The other that we're leveraging and inspired by you. We're leveraging AI in our chatbot. We love an AI chatbot. We love an AI chatbot to help reduce our ticket volume and engage with our consumers and provide them information faster than our CX team can get to. Yeah. But it's something where like we pride ourselves in our response time outside of that and really in driving our CSAT as well. Yeah. And incredible work that our CX team has done. Yeah, I think it's really important. So it's like, I think it's really honestly a game changer of like how you're utilizing the AI tool for like that digital experience. But I mean, going back to the CX piece of it, you have to think like if you're in a beauty brand. So if I'm in a beauty brand or if maybe I'm in a brand that's very complex, right? Not every support agent that you have is going to be highly educated like an esthetician, or maybe it's a protein company and, you know, they have like a health and wellness background, right? Some of these people are learning as they go. And I think that's incredibly amazing that you're utilizing AI like on that digital experience piece of it, but also in the chatbot piece of it, because it's helping your internal agents deliver information very quickly and like
actually good information, not just like let me check on that, and then my whole average handle time is going to be like through the roof. I don't know. That's just honestly an opinion. I think that's like pretty amazing of like where you're utilizing AI within Beekman.
Yeah, I think it's something where it's very important for us to, I think, have that right balance. I think we don't want to be in a world where everything is AI driven for our customers. Right. I think that is useful for some customers, but like the individual nuances of skin and what goes with what for your skin type, et cetera, there are going to be nuances where you might want to talk to someone who's very professional in that regard. And so really we're leveraging that, I think, more to free up time for our agents to have those conversations instead of Wizmo.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that piece of it, right? So it's like, okay, so you deliver this digital experience through like educating the customer, offering a product. You also have it in like the customer experience, like support version of it, right? And I think you hit the nail on the head though, is that AI isn't here to replace anybody or take your job. It's really to help like enhance your team and then allow your team to be able to deliver that humanized experience. Because you have such a nuanced product, like you're going to be able to like deflect the tickets that need to be deflected, right? And then on the other end of it, those agents will have the ability to deliver that humanized experience. I do have one question though, because I think as we talk about AI and like all these things, especially if you're like scanning people's faces and obviously in like chatbot, like how are you guys thinking about privacy?
Yeah, so privacy is really huge for us. So we operate on a double opt-in. So our consumers who are doing that face scanning app have to opt in for that permission, make certain that they are understanding and validating that. That's table stakes, I think, as well. We process that data very quickly and on device where possible, so that we don't hold on to that data. It gets refreshed and deleted, so that it gets cleared out. Because I think I have worked over the course of my career at various levels of organization whose belief on privacy vary. Again, I worked in the political space in the start of my career, so I'm very familiar with all of the things that went on there. And I left that for a reason. Yeah. I've worked at companies where we had an entire chief data officer team and legal and privacy was very keen in on that. And I worked hand in hand with them to make certain we were better than best. And so really, for me, our responsibility on the data we collect is really critical, especially because how we collect that data helps us with personalization, but it has to be useful and usable in order to do that. I'm not going to collect a piece of data to have it unless we can do something with it that helps the consumer. Right. So for instance, we leverage quizzes to collect information, and that really helps us understand what routine is right for you on some broad pieces. So what's your skin type? Do you have dry skin, oily skin, combination skin, dull skin, sensitive skin? That's one of our biggest filtering, because you have products that are really effective for each one of those types. And then what's your main skin concern? Are you blemish prone? Do you have scarring? Do you suffer from redness? Do you have bumps that you're trying to get rid of and smooth it out? And so that can help us provide more tailored communications, more tailored information to our consumers, to our neighbors. That's what we call our customers, by the way, our neighbors. But it allows us to provide that information so that we can get them the right thing at the right time. Right. I'm not going to collect that information just to sit on it.
Your CX is great. That phrase is so last season. We want to hear your CX is incredible, because at Customer, we believe in delivering incredible customer experiences. Introducing KIQ Agent Assist, the ultimate CX team AI sidekick built on our CRM to give agents superhero capabilities and efficiency. When building KIQ Agent Assist, we had goals in mind. 1, get rid of long customer wait times and increase the speed of customer resolution. 2, provide the CS team team with real-time data for personalized prompts. 3, delegate those mundane tasks to AI. And 4, free up the agents to deliver a human experience. But listen, we didn't stop there. We wanted to deliver more. Check out KIQ Agent Assist's amazing features with suggested responses, automatic two-way translation in 53 languages, and conversation summary. Upgrade your customer experience with KIQ Agent Assist. Try it today and see the difference. Customer, delivering incredible CX every single time.
It's too big of a risk.
I think it's too big of a risk, but I also think that like a lot of information that we collect today is like actually being underutilized. Like I have like several questions. So like I will get to the second question in a second, but okay, we've talked a lot about personalization. We've talked a lot about like, okay, you're going to use this information to like give them like something else in like their consumer journey, right? So I'm curious of like what are your favorite segmenting segments that I know I'm like saying segments, but like how do you think about it from a segmentation perspective? Not on like a demographic, but like, just tell me about that.
Yeah. So I think for me, the segmentation, the way we've approached segmentation, I think has come through a few different lenses. I think understanding that skin type is really critical for us. I think it's very similar to, say, if you're in cosmetics and are looking filtering off of shade. So if I have a particular skin type or skin tone, and I always use this shade of foundation, you're going to personalize messaging in that way with the products that are in that line. We'll do the same thing with our products for dry skin versus oily skin. We have products that work for both, but an oily skin user using our facial oil that is super hydrating and can leave a little bit of oiliness. It doesn't leave a lot, but like it can. Someone who has super oily skin, that may not be the best. So we really recommend that for people who have more combination or dry skin.
Yeah.
So I think that's one factor. We'd leverage RFM, so reach, frequency, and monetization. I know how you feel about acronyms.
Thank you.
But reach, frequency, and monetization. So those are models that we leverage through various tools. So we use Klaviyo and Peel to help with that. But that can help us understand how are consumers buying with us. And then as well, we use site behavior data. So as a consumer has bought in on one product 3 times, we're going to recommend what's the next best thing that they haven't tried yet.
Yeah.
And that to me is where you get in from segmentation to personalization.
Yes.
Which is sort of the way I look at it from a crawl, walk, run. It's broadcast. Same message to everybody. Segmentation, you get into the RFM, you get into a little bit of the zero-party data evolution, and then you get into personalization, which is tailored communications based off of what you've been exhibiting. You can jump straight to that if you are small and nimble, but I think many organizations need to crawl, walk, run.
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting that you see like a lot of these organizations that they're like, okay, I have so much data, right? And they're like, okay, great. Like I'm going to go do these like massive campaigns and I'm going to do all these things, but then they don't hit. And then they're like, well, why didn't it hit? But it's because you have to do the crawl, walk, run. Like you have to do the segmenting, to the personalization, to understanding what works, what doesn't work, to get to the next phase of it.
Yeah.
You know?
And when you're starting out, you don't know what's going to be that right lever.
Right. And your audience can be completely different.
Correct.
Your Beekman audience can be completely different to like L'Oreal.
Correct. Absolutely. I think there definitely is going to be crossover, but I think it's going to be very different.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting is taking as well that data. I feel like the difference to me between segmentation and personalization is between declared data and inferred data. So declared data, zero-party data, I, as a consumer, have given you this piece of information because you asked a direct question. What is your skin type? Inferred data, you've only bought things for dry skin. You've bought them 5 times. Yeah. I can make an assumption that you have dry skin. That is where it starts to get into personalization, and it gets to the edge cases. Like they're not clean, but organizations oftentimes, and I've been places where they didn't want to take that step at all, can make that jump.
Yeah.
And I think it's really helpful, especially so in our body care line, we have soap, hand wash, lotion, hand cream, and whip body cream. So 5 different products, different sizes of those products, and we have them across multiple different scents. So understanding what scent someone really likes, and if they're only buying into florals, recommending another floral scent to them.
Right.
That's not something where I'm going to spend the time to ask, hey, rank sort for me florals, fruit, citrus, herbal, or non-scented.
Yeah.
I'm going to infer that behavior and then start to segment off of that.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question.
Okay.
And
no,
I don't know if you're going to know the answer to this, but I'm kind of curious because we talk about the external customer and we talk about the internal customer, and we like briefly touch on like the agents and like the AI and stuff. But I'm so curious that because you as a marketing leader, right, you do so much of like the segmenting and this personalization anywhere in the customer experience journey. And I mean like support and in the community side, are you utilizing this data or like this like personalization to kind of captivate your audience in a different way? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah. So I think we're using that in terms of more life cycle marketing than I would say on our CX agent side.
Yeah.
I think our CX agent side is more of an input into that than an output.
Yeah.
I think we'll have all the data on the customer and what they've worked with, either an esthetician or that skin tool or just their purchase behavior in their file. So our agents can be armed with certain things. We also, when we are able to understand what was purchased as a gift or not, so we can get on that in a minute as well.
Yeah.
But so we'll leverage that as where we can as an output to tailor it. So if someone's asking, hey, how does this fit into my routine? Our agents can look at what else they have purchased from us and sort of say, oh, you should apply this cleanser before your Bloom Cream moisturizer.
Yeah.
And really just give that little bit of element there of neighborliness and kindness and really understanding that consumer and personalize to them on that response. However, that also feeds into what we do, and it's more on the life cycle marketing, I'd say. So in our flows, in our emails and text messages to consumers, how do we pull that in and help segment and drive better communication there?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's so interesting. I think you guys have a really dynamic marketing and like just overall customer experience. And I don't mean that in like just the support piece of it. I think it's like really amazing. Like I'm actually like shooketh. Okay. Actually switching gears. I know we're talking a lot about like digital stuff, but recently, and this is my favorite thing coming from Feastables, David, you did an in real life brand experience activation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah. So we launched a brand new product called Mushroom Milk. It is a better aging eye cream. It is powered by 5 mushrooms and 5% hexapeptides, which hexapeptide is a key ingredient that basically acts like a Botox. And so those 2 elements really help drive and fuel this eye cream. Because it's made with mushrooms, which just like mushroom based caffeine drinks, mushroom coffee, I don't know the right word there, but the non-caffeine version gives you the energy without the crash. A mushroom-based eye cream versus a caffeine eye cream won't dry out your eyes and your eyes won't crash. So we had noticed in some of this trend as well, we'd noticed that caffeine eye creams work for about 3 to 5 hours, and then they start to dry you out. And so we built and worked to identify a formula using 5 key mushrooms and goat's milk to help change that.
Wow.
And so because it's in the realm of mushrooms, because we're a brand based in upstate New York, we decided to lean into that for the branding. And so we were tripping through Texas. So we had Goaty in our mascot in a VW bus that we had tripped out, and had an activation. We had it he tripped through Dallas and the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We were at an event in Dallas as well as multiple Ulta locations, and then drove down here to Austin, where we were on South Congress, and I was able to go to that one, and then to a couple Ulta locations here as well in Austin.
Wow.
So really invited the community out to experience the product, to understand the brand, to sort of have a key moment. We invited all of our influencer partners who were in Texas to come as well, to really meet up and build a sense of community, because we're building a influencer community within Beekman as well, and help drive that. So it was a really cool way to have a digital brand, an omnichannel brand that we are, but have a new experience for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys do a really great job of like taking that digital experience to like in real life experience. I'm actually really curious, like, and this is kind of going back a little bit, but we're talking about this like in real life brand experience, this building community, like this educating on a digital way. But like you're in so many other locations. You're in these Altas, you're in QVC, HSN, right?
Yep.
And Amazon. And how do you like, and I can understand like the flow into like coming to Beekman 1802, but then let's just talk about like QVC and HSN, like how do you educate the people that are talking about your products to ensure that that education is like being passed off to that audience?
Yeah. So I'm not an expert on the TV channel side of things. But,
I'm not either.
But
so
we work with the host at those shows and bring our own guests in. So typically our guests are our founders, Brent and Josh, who are on TV all the time for QVC and HSN with baby goats, and they talk about it, and they do a very great job of talking about the incredible aspect of our products. They do product demonstrations on camera. They really help drive that education in a powerful way. Yeah. Over the last few years, we've started to diversify that away from just our founders to add in other key people in the beauty space who can talk to that product. And so we brought them on board, and they get educated as a part of our brand, and then our guests on those shows.
Yeah, I think that play of like, I think what's interesting is like when you have an organization or a brand or whatever, like having that founder story is so important, like for those initial stages. But then at some point you graduate, and it's not necessarily just like utilizing an influencer. It's also just like social proof and like UGC, user generated content, right? And like in some other form of like being able to tell that story from like the audience being able to say like, hey, I'm one audience, I'm speaking to the other audience. And I think you not just using the founder story is like actually like really amazing. Well,
and we're at that point in our journey, I think, to Josh. So Beekman 1802 was founded 2007, 2008 as by Josh and Brent, our founders. And we've been around for a while. They started this brand. They really were energized and driving it to save the farm that they had bought upstate.
That's right.
And because it was a recession, they both lost their jobs. So how do we save the farm? And that's how we started selling goat milk soap. And so we've grown from there significantly. But they have been the face of the brand for a long time. And I think it's about how do we still honor that and still tell that story? But the brand has grown in a sizable way. And so it is about the science of goat milk and kindness. It's less about the founder story anymore, because we've gotten to that size and scale where most people who are discovering us, they're discovering us as they're walking through Ulta. They're discovering us as they're flipping through their TV channel. They're discovering us here in Texas at Buc-ee's. They're discovering us online or on Amazon, and not being brought in because of the founder story, but overall being brought in because of the ingredients and the efficacy of the skincare. Gives us an ability to tell many more stories, including the founder story.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to back up to the Buc-ee's real quick.
Sorry.
I am so sorry.
I knew as soon as I said it, I knew Jess was going to come back to Buc-ee's.
For anybody who doesn't know, it's like kind of a national thing that we, like, people know, right?
Buc-ee's is definitely a Texas thing that has spread to, I would say, around I-40, like in the South.
Yeah. So what is Buc-ee's? Let's explain, because I think this is a very interesting dynamic.
Buc-ee's? Buc-ee's is everything you want it to be. But effectively, Buc-ee's is a rest stop gas station that prides itself on having the most and cleanest bathrooms of any rest stop, gas station, etc.
Good barbecue too.
You pull into a Buc-ee's and there are, I want to say, 80 pumps. It is the square footprint, I would say, of like a small Target,
Yeah.
with about 30% of that to bathrooms. And then they sell food, they sell barbecue, they sell beauty products, they sell apparel, they sell a lot of different things at Buc-ee's. And they sell Beekman 1802.
And so this is why I wanted to come back to it, because I think that this again is talking about like a dynamic audience build, being everywhere in your customer's journey, right? Yeah. Like Buc-ee's is kind of the target of gas stations. And I think that that's really interesting to have this like high-end skincare product at Buc-ee's, the gas station, where you can also get barbecue.
It's a very interesting retailer for us. I love it as someone who lives here in Texas. Yeah. But I think, and I have people who text me photos like, "Oh I just saw Beekman at Buc-ee's. Do you know you're there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know we're at Buc-ee's."
I want to know how much in sales you do there.
We do a sizable amount of sals at Buc-ee's.
I love this.
But we sell, and in particular, I think, bringing us back a little bit.
Yeah, thanks.
I think it is about when it comes to omnichannel, you can also get into category segmentation. So Buc-ee's, given the nature of it being added, like, yes, it is the target of gas stations, but it is still a gas station. We have our bodycare line, which is a lower price point, less education forward, very giftable of a product, versus our facial skincare line, which needs more education, is a higher price point. Whereas at Ulta, we have primarily our skincare line and then a couple of cents of our body care line.
Yeah.
Because Ulta, the consumer is in that mindset of skincare.
Yeah. It's being everywhere that your customer is in their journey, specifically.
In their journey, correct.
Specifically.
Correct.
So body care at Buc-ee's makes sense.
Body care is in giftable body care at Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the items that you would buy, a lot of the retail at Buc-ee's that isn't food related is giftable. Very highly giftable products.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to transition music into this.
I know. Wayne's World. Okay. I want to go into like some hot takes.
Okay.
So here's a jam. So besides being an amazing
Is this
marketer,
lightning round style, like 3-second answers?
No, dog.
Okay,
we have like 10 of them. We'll figure out what we get into. Here's the jam, though. So David, besides being an amazing marketer, is also just a really amazing leader. So like some of the hot takes that I actually want to get into first is who was your best boss and why?
Ooh. Okay. I've had a lot of bosses in my day. Across many organizations, but I think one of my best bosses was Sam Sebastian at Google. He was my director, and I think what made him the best boss for me, I think, really was in how he taught and trained his teams about the work-life blend. And he was very particular to use that word blend, not balance, because it was about the ebb and flow of it all. So I got to see him in many stages at Google over my time there. But in particular, I learned from him how he operates and works very much. He's like, look, I'm going to be working from early in the morning from 6 until about 7:38. And then from 8 until 10, I'm not working. I'm helping with my kids, get them out the door. Then he works until 4 or 5, and then he's off. You can't get a hold of him until the kids are in bed, and then he's going to come back online. And he really helped teach me that, and as a good mentor and leader, how you have that blend and how you operate with that. And he, not only did he do that in his own life, he made certain everybody on his team knew that was perfectly okay to time shift and still get your work done, and that he would be reliable at those times he said he was.
Yeah.
And all of those factors I've imbued into how I lead my team today. Like we are a fully remote team on the digital side. And so like I very much have opinions on IRL versus hybrid versus remote, et cetera. We can get into those. But I think for me, it's about the work getting done, and it's about the quality of the work. And I don't care where you do that or when you do that. I care that we are doing that together. And we're on the right path and we're aligned in the right direction more so than when you get it done. And he taught me that.
Well, I mean, you just went into my other hot take. What's your thoughts on IRL work or remote?
I actually think the answer to this probably a year ago or 6 months ago is different than what I'm going to say now. I think I'm still a very big proponent of remote work. I think it opens up so many different doors as a leader from a talent perspective, from a operations perspective, benefits to employees, et cetera. So even if we were in the same city, I would still opt for remote by default. But I do think there is extreme value in regular, structured time together. So for us and our team, that means once every couple of months, we meet up and we spend a good chunk of time together. We just had a strategy session with our leadership team, and one of my direct reports was there as well. And she and I bonded not only in the room, but in the off-room time. And we had great coaching sessions on sort of why the things were said the way they were. And to me, that's something that, not because of the camera, although I think there is an element of that, but because I think the structure of a calendared meeting sets an agenda, sets a, like, this is what we're going to talk about. This is the realm, versus sort of a free-flowing conversation after work.
Yeah. I know I have my opinion, but I think IRL versus remote is like really tough in the type of work that you do.
Yes, it does matter.
Like I really think that some teams are just really better spent like in real life versus like some teams that are remote. I also think it varies very much by like the person too.
Yep. So I think the person and the company. I think there are some companies that are going to struggle to be remote and some companies that are going to struggle to be IRL. And I think that sits with leadership and the culture of the company.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we have one more question.
Only one? I think we had 10.
Oh, we have 10, but we only have a few minutes.
Okay,
it's a problem. So if you want to know more, you just need to call us. Maybe. Okay, so last question. Hottest take. Is it a sit stand or sit stand? Do you like to sit at your desk or do you like to stand at your desk?
Neither.
Ooh, what do you do?
I have a walking treadmill desk.
Okay, smart.
And it has changed the game. So I have had a stand-up desk. It can't let me sit down. And I was doing like a mix of sit down, stand up, but probably like 60% standing, 40% sitting. I've got the treadmill and I worked up over the last couple months. And in the last week, I actually didn't sit at all. It was fully standing and walking the whole time. I'm averaging like 8 miles a day walking at work.
Do you think like it's not distracting?
I actually wrote a whole Twitter thread on this, so you can check it out there. But I think that there are certain things you can walk and talk at the same time. You can walk and type at the same time. You cannot walk, talk, and type at the same time. So you have to plan accordingly. Mm-hmm. So there are meetings where like if it's a very conversational meeting or someone else is presenting, like I can absolutely walk and I'll walk at like a 1.5 speed. There are times where it's not meeting time and it is just like, I need to build some models in Excel or build some PowerPoint decks or like push on and make some edits to our PDPs where I've cranked that thing up to like 4.5, 5.5. I'm listening to like dance music and I am just like, I like walking it out.
Wow.
And that actually energizes me. It tickles something in my brain, where it actually like pushes out all the distractions and I just get hyper focused, which is really great. I love it.
Dang.
So,
I feel like
highly recommend a
that.
walking treadmill.
I feel like that.
I'll send you mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down. I gotta get like a whole new desk set up. It's like a thing. Okay. Well, listen, we had like 10 questions. I couldn't get to it. It's honestly, this is one of my favorite humans, but all good stuff. So David, tell the audience where they can find you if they want to reach out.
Absolutely. So I'm on Twitter at DataDavidATX. And I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to send me a connection. But most of my hot takes and spicy comments are going to be on Twitter and in the DMs of Twitter.
He's not wrong. That's how we met.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us, my co-host David. for another episode of The Juice with Jess, and we'll see you next week. Hey, wow, you made it to the end of the episode. That means that you like me and I like you, which also means you should subscribe to this show.